Welcome to the latest episode of Double OT with Mark Dondero. I'm Yianni. A lot to get to on this episode. We start with the Patriots' big one Sunday in Denver, an impressive win over the Ravens despite those two special team gaffes. So the question we begin with, is the 2016 Patriots team peaking right now?
Yeah, I'll say that. I think they're playing, or on the precipice at least, of their best football of the season. I thought that could have been a good sign a few weeks ago when, they were winning games, but they weren't playing, I thought, their best football, or football that you had to bottle up and keep for January. We didn't really see that back in October or September like we have in other years. So I think based on what we've seen out of the defense in the last few weeks, I know some of the competition has been subpar, but we can all agree the Ravens were a legitimate team. I think based on the defense primarily, yeah, they're peaking. They're about to peak.
Yeah, I think this is the best we've seen them this year. Will we see a better version of what we saw versus Baltimore? I don't know. But I think Monday night's game was really encouraging. As you mentioned, the defense coming off those 3 games against subpar competition really showed us something. 2 of those touchdowns were, coming off the turnovers in the kicking game. You can wipe those off the board. So if you wipe off 14 from 20, you hold Baltimore to 6 points. And I still think we didn't know what we were going to see with the Patriots without Gronk. And like I think we both said at the time when Gronk went down for the year, is they were better suited this year than in past to adjust without Gronk. And you see Chris Hogan make an impact, Malcolm Mitchell making an impact, and Lewis and White are doing their thing in the backfield with Blunt over 1,000 yards. So they are pretty well balanced offensively with the defense coming along. Listen, special teams is usually a strength. We saw the block kick from Van Noy, not Van Noy, who was it?
Shea
McClellan, which is impressive, but I'm still worried about Gostkowski down the stretch. And obviously those muffed kicks. What do you do about Cyrus Jones? Does he play again?
No, you put him on the bench and say, see you at training camp or at OTA.
He put Jones back there.
You don't put him in. He's not going to factor into a playoff situation.
You have to do the Stephen Ridley and just can him for the year.
A couple thoughts on what you said. Number one, Stephen Gostkowski, yes, I share that concern. However, we've brought it up before, they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago without one time marching Gostkowski out for a meaningful field goal. Somehow that happened.
Yeah.
So you hope if he is struggling come January, you can kind of avoid it. That's not a good feeling for me, but it is possible. Remember, they did have some nice punts the other night. Ryan Allen down to it was Ryan Allen, but they were downing the ball at the 1 yard line. That happened twice.
A lot of
so that was good.
Position
it wasn't
punts,
just the blocked kick. But going back to the defense real quick, forget about the stats, forget about the numbers. The eye test. They looked edgy. They looked confident. They looked like they thought and they knew whatever they had planned was going to work.
How much is a product of playing the Ravens and kind of ratcheting up the rivalry versus them just being better?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure the Ravens had something to do with it. It's hard not to get up for that game, but I think it was them responding to some of the
some of the guys were saying the other day, like, this is a media thing that we're a bad defense. We think we've been good all year.
No, it certainly wasn't strictly a media thing, guys. But no, I'm glad they still have the confidence, and they showed it against the Ravens. They'll get another test on Sunday.
It was good. I sometimes think Devin McCourty is overrated based on his contract. It was good to see him have a meaningful interception, and he had a nice, a pass breakup. He was kind of flying around the other day. I thought that was good.
Well, he's very good with his assignments, but as far as being an explosive playmaker, a la Troy Polamalu, that's not his game, and that's obviously easier to fall in love with. Let's go to Sunday's game, Denver, New England, at Denver. Before we talk about the specific matchup and give a prediction, Tom Brady, 2-7 all-time in Denver. That is not good, and we know based on his greatness, it's highlighted even more. Is Denver and playing in Denver in his head?
Yes, I think it is. His season ended in the playoffs in 2005, in 2013 in the AFC Championship, and last year, 2014 in the AFC Championship. 2-7, the numbers don't lie. Listen, this is a different Broncos team than we saw 2 years ago and in 2005, so those things change. But there's something about walking into a stadium and maybe the memories start to creep in your head about things that have gone wrong there. I can't attribute it to the cold. He plays in New England. I mean, the Mile High, he's played there long enough that, I don't know. I think the last 2 losses there, or 3 because they lost in the regular season, comes down to, the Broncos' defense being really good. But I think there's something in his head about going into Denver. Now, I don't think it's crippling. I don't think he's going to start throwing ducks out there just because he's in Denver. But Similar to Miami, he doesn't play great in Miami. It's just one of those things with certain pitchers have off days in certain stadiums. I think there's something to this, sure.
I agree with you, and this is absolutely real. It can happen. Anybody that's played sports before knows, there's just some fields you either felt really bad at or really good at. I played college baseball. I loved playing at UMass Lowell. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Always played well there. There are other stadiums, fields you didn't play all that well. So I think there is something to him having Denver in his head. The self-image he has of himself in Denver isn't the same as what he has at Gillette or
Sure.
whatever. So yes, I think there is something to it. But like you said, it's not going to just derail his whole game. He'll be fine. The biggest thing, and we'll get into this, I think he has better help this time around,
yes,
especially on offense. Gronk is out, but offensive line play could be key in this game, and we'll get to that.
Anyone ask? I wasn't at the press conference today. You were. Anyone ask him that specific question?
Not
Playing in
about
Denver?
Not about having demons and struggles previously in Denver. Nobody really asked him that. It's well documented.
Yeah. All right. So let's get our picks now. Projections for how this game goes. Sunday, 4:25. Who wins and why?
I'm taking the Patriots. I'm getting on board with them peaking, that they are about to play their best football. It's a tough spot. Denver is playing for their playoff lives. They are the defending Super Bowl champions at home, a place they know Tom Brady struggles. But you got to win 2-7. The Patriots, Tom Brady, they've got to get it done in Denver sooner or later. Manning is gone. Trevor Siemian's been hurt. The biggest reason, like I said, I think this is the time where they are really ratcheting up their level of play, and it's time to peak, and it's almost playoff time, so that is perfect.
What's your score?
Score for the game, I'll keep it more low scoring. I'll say 23-16 Pats.
Okay. I also have the Patriots. I think they're playing well. They can kind of smell it. They can feel it. They're peaking at the right time, as we said. Last year, there's been some years where maybe they peaked too early. This is one of those years, meaningful football after Thanksgiving, December cold football, where they're doing things the right way. They need to avenge. Now, does this avenge last year's AFC Championship game? Absolutely not. The stakes are completely different. But I think the Patriots' O-line has been much better, obviously, than what we saw. That's not to say Von Miller's not going to have a sack or two, but you feel better about that matchup. And with Blunt and the way the passing game has gone, I think the Patriots can score a good amount of points. The Denver offense doesn't scare me at all. So that being said, I trust the Patriots to score more than I do Denver scoring. So while maybe the Broncos defense holds the Patriots to under their season average, I think it's enough to overcome whatever Denver puts up there. So I'll say 24-17.
I wouldn't say the Denver offense doesn't scare me at all. I mean, I think
they have some playmakers.
They have some guys
sure.
that can play, especially the two receivers. But the offensive line, not only protecting Brady, but running the ball. That's
yes.
huge because they have had no running of the ball
Right.
in previous matchups there in 2013 or last year in the AFC title game. And then you have to throw all the time, then you're predictable, and then you just get eaten.
Right. And I will say this about Patriots and Broncos. While Peyton Manning wasn't very good last year, just having him under center just creates more of a fear. Like everyone's like, oh, the Broncos won the Super Bowl with subpar quarterback play last year, which is true. But something just about Manning being back there, I think just gives you a psychological
Of course,
edge.
because he was so good and the bar was so high. Even when he came way down,
Right.
he still was good, better than a lot of
Right.
a lot of
I'm not prone to
quarterbacks.
make a dumb mistake, you know.
He wouldn't make that mistake, right? And he would maybe not make all the throws, but
And listen, the AFC a bye's on the line. If they can win and then beat the Jets Christmas Eve, I think they can maybe go into Miami and rest, assuming they have the 1 seed. Hopefully, Bill doesn't botch this like he did last year.
they certainly have this game to play for, unlike that Miami game where that was kind of up in the air. They trying to figure out what they wanted to do. Okay, so Tom Brady going out today. Now, this game will have a big impact on maybe his MVP resume, but he missed the first 4 games of the regular season. Right now, based on everything he's done this year, is he the MVP?
All right.
And if not, who is?
I'm going to kind of hedge my answer here. It's how you interpret MVP. This is the age-old question.
Yeah.
Is MVP the most valuable player, or is it the best player?
Well, I'm going to
It's
defer
kind
to
of a combination of both, in my estimation. Is he the most valuable? I don't think so, because the Patriots went 3-1 without him, and they'd probably be a playoff team without Tom Brady, with Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever. But that shouldn't hurt him, right? I think pound for pound, he's having the best season, whatever it is, 22 touchdowns, 2 picks, 4 fewer games than everyone else. So I think I want to see how these final 3 weeks go. If he continues to play like he did in Baltimore with the 12 games of work, I can give him the MVP. If he's averaged, or let's say he sits the last game and only logs 11 games, I don't think you can give him the MVP, so I'm going to say to be determined. But I think he's the best player in the league. Maybe not the most valuable. I'd probably say Ezekiel Elliott, the running back for the Cowboys. He or Dak Prescott would be a worthy answer for what the Cowboys are doing. I just think he's kind of been, the guy that's making that offense tick. So I guess I'm giving you a non-answer, which I hate to do, but I don't know is the answer.
Okay, I'll take this one then. Tom Brady right now, I think the big argument for Tom Brady, maybe right now the biggest argument, is his age. 39 years old. Everything he's doing
but that
is at
shouldn't
the
impact
age of
anything.
but it's still just amazing. It's amazing that at that age he's doing these things. Is he the MVP right now? I would not vote for him for MVP right now. Could you? Sure. But my MVP right now would be Dak Prescott. I know he's a rookie, but based on and a part of this is based on what the Cowboys have been. They have been inept in a lot of ways,
sure.
And he has brought stability to not only the offense, but seemingly to the whole organization. He takes care of the ball. He seems like he's more mature than Jerry Jones, and he's completely turned around the franchise. He has become the foundation of that franchise. I think he's the MVP. Now, I didn't dissect his stats. So he didn't barely threw any interceptions prior to what was that game against Dallas, and then he had a good touchdown to interception ratio. So the stats are going to be there, maybe not Brady-esque, but they'll be there. So I think he's your MVP. Tom Brady, really good.
I don't think Brady will win it because I think there are sports writers out there, or voters, who are going to hold the Deflategate against him. And, in general, Brady isn't lauded or appreciated as much throughout the country by the national media as he is here in New England.
The answer is you cannot make that determination right now, but if I was going to, I would vote for Dak Prescott.
And I will say this, Brady has 2 MVPs. He'll have fewer than he deserved by the time his career's done with.
No question. There's no question about that. He'll be in the Kobe Bryant, King Griffey
Kobe
Jr.
had
ballpark.
1, Griffey had 1.
Pathetic. Griffey had 1 MVP.
All right, so something about speaking of national media, swept under the rug was this Deflategate 2 story came out on Sunday that the Steelers allegedly told the NFL that the Giants told the NFL the Steelers had 2 balls that were underinflated, under the 12.5 PSI. NFL quickly, unlike they did with the Patriots story, addressed the report, called it faulty, said all the protocols were, done properly, and this was a non-story. The Patriots may have something to say about that. What do you have to say about it?
I think that it's an absolute disgrace, an embarrassment, and putrid because the NFL, as we know, makes their own rules. And that, what you just explained, is the perfect example. They made their own rules in terms of, do we want this to be a story? No, let's just sweep it away. That's what they did. The NFL is disgusting. The NFL was out to get the Patriots. That is why Deflategate here was so big and so ridiculous. They wanted it to be. They wanted to dig under every hole, under every rock, find any little bit of information they could, and then to go after Tom Brady, do what they could to nail the Patriots to the tune of $1 million and a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for ball pressure or air in a ball. It was ridiculous, and the fact that the process wasn't even close to the same that we saw with this Pittsburgh-New York Giants thing, pathetic. And the fact that John Mara comes out and just, nothing to see here because he's protecting the Steelers and they're protecting each other.
And the
Rooney's. Disgusting.
I think a Mara and a Rooney child got married. They're they're essentially family. The Steelers. Really, really, really bad luck for the NFL.
Horrendous.
Everything you just mentioned. You can't set this precedent with the Patriots and have a Wells report and spend however many $1 million on this investigation and not do the same thing when the same infraction allegedly happened, 2 years later.
Exact same.
So this is a bad look for the NFL. Why aren't they shelling out a Wells report for the Steelers and Giants balls? Why aren't they investigating this? How could they so definitively send out a statement right after this happened or the report came out without investigating it? That being said, I think it's a good look for the Patriots in terms of perception, because it shows the NFL never really cared about the air pressure in the footballs. It was never about that. It was the next thing the Patriots did to get a so-called advantage over the competition. The NFL and the NFL owners wanted to make sure they were coming down on them.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time, so listen very carefully. Deflategate was about ultimately jealousy. People in the league office, people around the league, other owners, fans, media, everybody in the NFL's the height of popularity for NFL football.
Sure.
The Patriots have been the most successful franchise. 4 Super Bowls. Tom Brady is a beautiful looking man, beautiful wife. There is nothing more to say. It was about jealousy. They wanted to see the man who's on top of the football world come down.
And if it wasn't air pressure, it would have been something else.
It would have been
the
anything.
Next, I saw a Panasonic recording in our locker room, and I think they're listening to our pregame. It would have been something.
Bring them down.
Bring them down. So I think we both agree on that one.
That's correct. Okay, so moving away from football a little bit, let's talk about URI. Some struggles. Now, we all know they had a big win against Cincinnati, lost a few key road games, some key out-of-conference games that they had on their schedule. Based on what you've seen so far, are you concerned about their NCAA tournament possibilities?
Yeah, so I think going into the season, we thought URI will make the NCAA tournament. Once they beat Cincinnati, a ranked team at Mohegan, well, they're definitely getting there. Had they beat Duke, I think they could have punched their ticket that weekend. The 3 road losses to Valpo, PC, and Houston, you try to get 2 of those, at least 1, but to go 0-3, that really puts them behind the 8 ball in terms of their, they're not going to have any out-of-conference, road wins that are on non-neutral floors. So I think Kevin McNamara told you this yesterday. They need to clean up in the A-10 now. So they have a very little margin for error. They play 18 games in the A-10. They need to win 12 or 13 of them. Most of them have to be against teams that are good. So like beating the last place team in the A-10 isn't going to help their resume. They can still get into the tournament, obviously, but it's going to be more challenging. So, yes, I'm concerned ultimately about them getting in, but I think they can still do it.
I would feel a lot better about answering this question if I knew the official prognosis of Hassan Martin.
Right.
If I knew he was going to be healthy and a full go, I would feel good, and I would say I'm not concerned. And you know what, Dan? I'm going to still say I am not concerned about your team. I think they are going to rally. I think they've built up enough mental fortitude over the last few years where they will be able to stabilize things,
sure,
go into the A-10 and put forth a good performance and a good effort and get into the tournament, without sweating too much. So I do think they'll get in. They'll be fine. So, no, I'm not concerned. URI's going to the tournament.
All right. Look at that. All right, let's finish off with some TV pop culture. Alan Thicke passed away today, reportedly of a heart attack.
A few days ago. Was it yesterday?
Was it yesterday?
I don't think it was today.
So rest in peace to a great TV dad. That makes us question, who is your favorite TV dad?
My favorite TV dad, easy one for me, Tim the Toolman Taylor. I loved it. I loved Home Improvement. I loved the dynamic with his wife Jill, the 3 boys. I could watch that show today. There's some shows that you watch again. If I watch Full House today, I'd sit there and be like, what am I doing?
Danny Tanner's kind of a twerp.
Not watching that. But Home Improvement, I'd watch right now, and I'd still, split my sides laughing.
Did you like his parent? You're a dad now. Or did you like his parenting?
I mean, I don't model myself necessarily in a lot of ways after him as a father in terms of, setting an example or being, I don't really model myself to it, but I just thought it was funny the way
great, likable.
We weren't being man. Specific. I just thought it was funny the way he interacted with the kids, the way he interacted with his wife, the way he always kind of screwed up and tried to make it better after he screwed up.
You do that a lot.
Yeah, I screw up sometimes with Jen. I mean, we don't need to get into that, but I just thought it was a funny dynamic, and his style of humor I thought was really funny.
I haven't seen Home Improvement in a while. I obviously watched it all in the 90s, but he's a good choice. I had trouble with this one. I didn't really have a good one. I don't know why you had so.
I mean, let me just say one line. I think the line that won me over was when Brad was complaining about having to he wanted to go skiing with his friends around Christmas, and Tim was like, no, you're coming to church with us. And he was like, Christmas isn't about being with people you like, it's about being with your family. I just laughed. Oh, that's funny. Sorry.
Right,
so what's your answer?
I'm stealing Kelly Sullivan's. It's a modern one. Ty Burrell from Modern
That's a good
Family.
one. He's good.
Phil Dunphy, because he's kind of quirky, he's goofy, but he's funny. He's got kind of a nasally, dorky, dweeby voice. I just like him. I considered, who were we talking about? Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. I didn't love him. Someone said the Brady Bunch dad. That's too early for us.
Yeah, we wouldn't know that guy.
Danny Tanner, we didn't love him.
I mean, you got to mention him, but no, I didn't really.
Steve said Homer Simpson.
Okay.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
But there wasn't an answer that slapped me across. Tim the Two-Man Taylor is pretty good. Tony, who do you got? Favorite TV dad?
I say Mike Brady.
Mike Brady, yeah, that's what Kevin said.
It's a good one.
Yeah, Mike Brady from Tony Petrarca.
And of course, I mean, it's worth.
Alan Thicke was good.
Yeah, no, it's worth mentioning too that there were other TV dads out there that, because of recent circumstances, aren't as appealing as maybe they once were.
Ed Cosby.
Yeah.
Happy Days? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people liked.
I mean, Bill Cosby was probably your answer if he wasn't outside of work.
Yeah.
Such
that's
POS.
That was an issue.
Anyone else?
I mean,
what about David Hasselhoff from Baywatch?
Was he a dad?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch that show enough.
Toby or something.
Okay. I mean, I remember, like I was saying, Alan Matthews could have been one.
Carl Winslow.
He
yelled a lot in Family Matters.
He yelled a lot in Family Matters.
All right. Well, tweet at us your favorite TV dad, at Mark Dondero, at Yianni Caracas.
We'll be waiting.
All right, next week's a holiday week, but we should be able to get us showing, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching Double OT. We'll see you next time.